My name is Gatewood Galbraith, and I am running for governor as an independent. And people said, Galbraith, you're a perennial candidate. And I said, well, Kentucky's got perennial problems. If the people who had beaten me the first time had solved the problems, I wouldn't have had to run again. But they didn't, and they haven't, and they can't. Because neither party can produce a candidate that can disengage from the partisanship to actually work with the other side to get the job done. And so Kentucky has these perennial problems like they can't fund the retirement, they can't fund the pensions, they can't fund Medicaid, they can't fund education. We are a dysfunctional state. And we have been rated the worst run state in the country by people in the know. But D. Riley and I have decided to run as independents right now because we believe an independent governor and lieutenant governor who does not care who gets credit for doing what's right for the people stand the best chance of getting the best intention of both parties to work together finally to come together to solve the perennial problems of the state of Kentucky. But we can't do it without your help. We can't do it without the help of each and every one of you. You just cannot sit by and expect things to change on their own or expect other people to do it for you. You're the one that has to get out there. You're the one that has to help us get on the ballot. We need 5,000 signatures, as I said before. We've got petitions out here. I would love it if each one of you would take a petition home and get us 10 to 20 signatures and mail it in to us. That's what we need, folks. I'm begging you to do that. Meanwhile, too, pick up the bumper stickers and get them out there. Put them on your car. Put them on your guitar case. Put them on your forehead. But get them out. Get them out. There's several things that we'd like to do for the people of the state of Kentucky. We are a poor state. Our educational system is in shambles. Amen. When I ran for governor in 1991, we spent 68% of the state budget on education. This year, we're spending 58% of the state budget on education. We're defunding the very apparatus necessary to try to educate us out of poverty. So what we would like to do is we would like to stop the corruption in the state of Kentucky and use the money that's going into the pockets of the special interests and corporations right now and put it into education through what I call the Commonwealth Incentive. We want to give every high school graduate in the state of Kentucky a $5,000 voucher for books, tuition, and fees to any institution of further learning in the state that will train them into employability. It's time that we started thinking in terms of further education for everybody, not just higher education for a few. And there's a lot of people, a lot of kids out there in these poor counties, they don't have a vision beyond the high school diploma where they don't have to go into school anymore and they get a driver's license. We want to give them hope. We want to give them vision. For books, tuition, and fees, there's no pizza, rent, and beer attached to it. When they get a high school diploma, they can go to woodworking school, cosmetology school, UK, UL, truck driving school, any place that will train them into employability. We want to let them know that we have faith in them, that we are interested in their future. That ought to do several things for us. It ought to invite in worker training programs into the state. It ought to invite in emerging industries into the state because they can be paid to train our students to work for them. It's money spent in the state of Kentucky, so we get it back in the form of taxes. It ought to promote employment. It ought to promote education. And it gives these kids in these poor counties some vision. It also makes a high school diploma worth getting so we can strengthen the curriculum in high school and insist that they actually work for it rather than just go along and just to get it through the passage of time. And the beautiful part of it is not one penny gets spent until they actually show up to get trained. It's not like building a $100 million campus and trying to entice them into the curriculum. The first dollar only gets spent when they take their first step towards being trained into employability. So it's a very surgically precise and efficient way to spend the educational dollar. We also want to offer, Kentucky lost 82,200 jobs in 2009. We lost 80,000 jobs last year. Those jobs aren't coming back. We need to attract jobs into the state, and we need to secure the ones that are already there. So what we would like to do is offer tax incentives to existing Kentucky corporations to establish state-of-the-art environmental compliance within any industry that they are. That ought to promote employment, and it ought to anchor the businesses here. Dee and I also are the only ones who have come out against mountaintop removal in the state of Kentucky. These other two, our opponents, are taking big money from the big coal corporations to go along with mountaintop removal. Hell no! Stop obliterating our mountains. The deep miners, the deep coal miners agree with us.
Yeah.
They agree with us. It's their homesteads that are being destroyed. It's their streams that are being destroyed. D. Riley and I are the only people in the state of Kentucky who can and will stop mountaintop removal when we take office. That's right. And it also destroys mining jobs because mechanism is replacing the miners, and the miners need the jobs.
That's right.
All right. We also, what I would like to do is get medical marijuana in the hands of every sick and dying person in the state of Kentucky. That ought to cut the cost of health care and Medicaid from between $500 million to $1 billion a year. My first day in office, I'm going to ground every military helicopter hovering over the fields and gardens of the people of the state of Kentucky. This is America, not Afghanistan, and we're not an occupied territory, and we're not going to treat our citizens like we are one. We believe it's the role of government to uplift and enlighten and educate and ennoble the individual. You know, before this country, before the United States came around, we were all property. You belonged to the local king or queen or lord or whoever had the most gunpowder in the valley. If they brought you in and said, off with your head, there you went. You didn't have anybody. You didn't have any rights. Our founding fathers, when they started this country, said, hey, it's going to be something different. We're going to recognize that we are all endowed by our Creator with inalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It has nothing to do with what the government does. We're endowed by our Creators. That made each and every one of you a sovereign human being, self-determinative, able to make up your own mind. And they put in a Constitution that was designed to protect those rights, but that Constitution is under attack right now. That Constitution and the American way of life is under attack right now. And it's under attack by the people that I call the petrochemical, pharmaceutical, military, industrial, transnational, corporate fascist elite son of a bitches. There's policies being made that affect our private behavior, being made by transnational corporations who've never said the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America or to the republic for which it stands. And they view the Constitution and the Bill of Rights as impediments to the implementation of a new world order and global economy. Well, I'm a nationalist, and I ain't going down without a fight. One of the ways we're going to recapture that is returning hemp as a cash crop in the state of Kentucky. When they outlawed hemp, they outlawed the farmers' ability to keep down the energy market. Hemp is petroleum. That's what hemp is. You get 20 barrels of petroleum off an acre of hemp. No wonder they're willing to put millions of us in jail and kill people so that they can't grow this green natural plant that used to be our largest cash crop for over 100 years. My first day in office, I'm going to tell the DEA to stuff it. We're going to start planting hemp in the state of Kentucky for our fuel crop. You know, the DEA and these federal alphabet soup gang, they cannot operate in a county unless they have the permission of the sheriff. The Constitution only gives the federal government original jurisdiction in some very limited areas, like Washington, D.C. and military enclaves. The only way they can operate in the states and in the counties is if the sheriff gives them permission to. Well, I got some sheriff friends who are not going to give them permission to operate in those counties. We need to establish hemp as a fuel crop, a biofuel. Willie Nelson and I poured hemp oil into my Mercedes diesel in 1991 and drove it across Kentucky as a part of the governor's race. He said he never forgot it, and he started Willie's Biofuel Company, and he's been doing that all over the last several years. But listen, it's time. What we can do when you return land as the means of producing wealth like that, it's a natural wealth spreading mechanism. And we can return to a cash crop in all 120 counties in the state of Kentucky. And I'd like to set up farmers cooperative refineries in every few counties so that the farmers can take their hemp crop there and turn it into biofuel and methanol. And let's let our farmers get back into the energy market. Hey, it's far superior to corn. You need flat land, pesticides, herbicides, and fertilizers to grow corn. You don't need that with cannabis. It's a weed. But it's a weed that can revitalize the economy in the state of Kentucky. It was our largest cash crop for over 100 years, twice as long as tobacco. And I'm not willing to give it up, and I'm not willing to forget it. It's a major part of our platform. But we have other parts of our platform too. You can go to gatewood.com and get on our website and take a look at what we stand for. I'm not going to go over everything we stand for, but I want to run over just a couple of more issues. Number one, we're not going to furlough state workers in order to save money to pay the special interest with. If you're a state worker for the state of Kentucky, we want to honor you. We want to pay you a decent wage. We want to make sure that your retirement is fully funded. We're not going to appoint special advisors and pay them $75,000 so they can go out there and campaign for re-election. You know, the special interests up there are killing you. Corruption's what's keeping this state poor. I'll run you through an example of that. There's a thing called the Council for let me run this by you first. There's a thing called the Council for Economic Development, and those are the people who give out tax incentives to locate jobs here in the state. And then they give money to corporations to locate here for jobs. In 1993, Gene Strong, the head of that, said publicly, I have a plan for every Kentuckian. By the year 2012, 80% of Kentuckians are going to be earning $8 an hour. How do you like it so far? Who's going to buy the houses? Who's going to buy the cars? Who's going to start the families? We are against giving tax incentives to locate $8 an hour jobs here in the state of Kentucky. If we give tax incentives, we want to locate the $15 and $20 an hour jobs here in the state. Our people can do it. I don't consider that to be a waste of the tax dollar, but I consider $8 an hour jobs to be a waste of tax dollars if we're going to give it to a corporation to come in here and exploit our workers like that. It ain't going to happen. Corruption's what keeps this state poor. There is a thing called the personal service contracts, you know, and that's where the state pays private individuals and corporations to do state work. When Paul Patton took office in 1995, there was $280 million being paid out to private corporations to do state work. When he left in 2003, it was $1.2 billion. Now, $400 million of that was Medicaid, so he added $400 million to it. This year, it's $2 billion that's being paid in your tax dollars to private corporations to do state work. That's where the payoff goes for all these special interests that are electing the others yahoos to office. And we're going to put a stop to it. We're going to save that tax dollar, and we're going to pay our state workers an adequate wage. We're going to fund Medicaid. We're going to fund retirement. We're going to fund the state programs that do the work for the people. We're going to take the dollars and put them to work for the people instead of the big private corporations who have been exploiting us all this time. We cannot do it without your help. These people are scared to death of us. These people are frightened to death of us. They're going to keep any way that they can to keep us off the ballot. We need your help. We need your support. We have these petitions over here. I beg you to each one of you take a petition before you leave here and get us 10 to 20 signatures on it. It needs to be legible signatures. There's an address at the bottom that you can mail them to us. Please do it this week. Please get these signatures this week and mail them back into us. Don't depend on somebody else to do it. It's up to you. You're the one that has to do it. If you do it, I promise you that we'll do the very best we can for you, the people. And I believe that you all can believe what we say, because I'm going to tell you, if I was going to lie to you, I'd already been elected governor. I can't see you out there, folks, but I can hear you, and I am so honored, and Dee and I are honored and blessed that you showed up here tonight. We will be doubly honored and blessed if you can help us out with signatures and take these bumper stickers and free bumper stickers over there. We have shirts over there that you can purchase. The fellow who's printed those shirts up has done a great job for us. I know you all are going to do a great job. God bless you all, and thank you for being here. And here's Goose Creek Symphony.